So today we are going to cook fish maw soup, part of our Asian cuisine. We're going to start off with the ingredients. So first you have your fish maw. So this is dried fish maw in packaged form. Next we have crab meat. Today we're just going to use artificial crab meat. And we also have shrimp. So for shrimp here, to make things easier, we just buy the ones that are already peeled and are headless. And you also have eggs, dark soy sauce, cornstarch, chicken broth. We actually make our own chicken broth, so we'll talk more about that later. And abalone. So here we have canned abalone for garnishing. So these are some other ingredients you need for the fish maw soup. Here we have dried scallops. You will need to put them in cool water and soak it for about an hour, and then empty out the water. And then this is black fungus slices. Again, you want to put it in cool water and soak it for about an hour, and then drain out the water. And so these ingredients you can pick up at any Asian supermarket normally. Now we gotta look at the chicken broth. So what we did was we bought a few chicken legs, around 6, and then we put into a pot of water and just boiled it for around 2 hours to make our own natural chicken broth. But we'll probably also mix a little bit of pre-made chicken broth here. So either way, you don't want to spend too much time and energy making your own chicken broth. You can just buy the pre-made ones and just boil it. So roughly about 2 hours if you want. So since we made our own natural chicken broth with chicken, we don't want to waste the leftovers, so we're going to shred this chicken for garnishing purposes. So we just take the leftover chicken and you just tear it apart and try to make it as get the pieces as small as possible, and then later we will use it to garnish the soup. The next step here is that we remove the ingredients from the bags and we put them into bowls. And what you want to do is you want to start soaking these. So the black fungus and the dry scallops, you want to soak in warm water for about an hour or so. So just leave it in there. Now we have removed the fish maw from the bag and we put it into a big bowl here. What we're going to do now is we're going to pour some hot boiling water into this bowl. Two things. Number one is to soften up the fish maw. And also number two, we want to clean off the dirt and the residue from the fish maw. So we're gonna leave the fish maw in hot water for about 2 hours. What we normally do is that every hour or so, we will remove or pour out the existing water and pour in some fresh hot water into it, just to keep the fish maw nice and warm. So here we are. Now, a word of warning, fish maw has a unique fishy smell. So what you may want to do is turn on some fan or turn on your vents. Then we're just going to let it sit. Again, we'll time it for about an hour or so. When the water gets too cold, we'll pour it out and pour some fresh hot water. Now we're going to work with the shrimp. So we defrosted the shrimp, and you also want to give the shrimp a quick wash. So all the shrimp is washed now. What we want to do is you want to cut the shrimp in half. So you'll notice that you put it on the side, you'll notice that there is a black line around its belly. So you're going to try to aim for that. That is your line. That's your cutting line. So just aim for the black line and then cut it in half. Alright, so now you have it like this. Now you notice that there's a black line here. It's probably the shrimp's intestine tract. You want to remove that. So then you just want to put it away. We don't want that in our soup. So just put it away. Like that. So you're going to keep doing that for all your shrimp. Slice it in half. Again, aim for the black line. Try to use that as your cutting line. And yeah. So I'll just continue doing that. Next, we are going to shred the crab meat. So again, this is artificial crab meat here to come in pieces like this. What I normally do is I first just slice them with a knife. And then you take these sliced pieces and you shred them even more. So you want to make them as thin as possible. And it's up to you how many pieces of crab meat you want to add to your soup. I have a total of about 8 or 9 pieces here. I'm serving maybe 5 to 6 people. So again, just shred them. Very easy to come off. And there you go. So the black fungus that was originally in the water, we're going to pour the water out, and we need to chop this up because normally these black funguses, they come out to be fairly long. I prefer to make them a little bit shorter, so we just throw them onto a cutting board and you just chop. Maybe try to cut them in half or so. It makes it easier to eat when you drink your soup. So just cut it smaller pieces. There you go. So next up we have the abalone. So we took the abalone out of the can, gave it a quick wash, and now what we want to do is slice the abalone, make it into thinner pieces so it's easier to eat. So abalone is a little bit tougher to cut, so we're going to try just put it on the side for now and just cut down. Try to get the slices as thin as possible. There. So we have finished soaking the fish maw in water. So we pour the water out and we put the fish maw onto a cutting board. So what we want to do now is cut these fish maw into smaller pieces. Maybe less than 1 inch by 1 inch, so it is easier to eat. So again, fish maw can be a little bit smelly. It smells a lot like fish. So just be aware of that as you're cutting it. You might want to, again, open a window or turn on your fan. So just cutting these up into smaller pieces is what I'm doing right now. So now we are going to work with the cornstarch. Right now we have a little bit of warm water in a bowl, and we are going to add roughly about 8 teaspoons worth of cornstarch. See how it goes first. The cornstarch is really to make the soup a little bit thicker and to hold in the flavor. So again, I estimate roughly about 8 teaspoons. Make sure cornstarch doesn't get clunky, and if it gets too clunky, we'll use a chopstick or a spoon to break it up a bit. Okay, we're almost done. Alright. So now we're just going to mix it a little bit. If it's too hard, we'll put a little bit of water to loosen it up. And then I'm just going to continue mixing it, and we'll get the cornstarch ready to go. Now we mentioned that fish maw does give off a very fishy smell. So one of the tricks to remove that smell is we're going to stir fry the fish maw just really quickly with some garlic and ginger. Ginger usually is really good at getting rid of some of that smell. So I'm just going to quick stir fry. Wait for the pan to heat up a bit. We're going to add our ginger and garlic. Again, it's just a very quick stir fry, no more than a minute or two. We want the ginger to take away the smell. So now that we finished stir frying it, we're immediately going to put the fish maw into our chicken broth that was boiling in the background. No ginger. There you go. With the fish maw in here now, we're going to lower the heat just a little bit and let it simmer for about 10 minutes or so. So the fish maw has now been sitting in the boiling chicken broth for about 10 minutes. So we're going to start adding the ingredients, first starting with the shrimp. Followed by the abalone and black fungus. Also, at this point, you'll probably smell the ginger, so we took out 2 of the 3 slices, left 1 of them in there. You don't need the ginger to be in the chicken broth for the whole thing. And now the black fungus. We're going to let this sit for around 5 minutes before we add anything else. We're going to mix these ingredients up first. So after 5 minutes or so again, we are going to add more ingredients. So we're going to start with the shredded crab meat. Followed by about 1 teaspoon of dark soy sauce. So we took the eggs, we took the yellow yolk out. This is just a regular egg white. You're going to beat it a little bit. And then you're going to slowly pour it into the soup. Let me quickly mix the soup first. Slowly pour the egg white into the soup. And then we are going to stir the soup. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce. And we are going to stir some more. with water. Make sure that when you are mixing the cornstarch solution that it just becomes liquid. There's no more hunkiness inside. So it shouldn't be too thick. It should just be liquidy like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly pour the cornstarch into the soup while we're mixing. Now it depends on how thick you want your soup. If you want it to be a little bit thicker, then you add more cornstarch. If not, then you can stop. But right now I'm just going to add this all in. And we'll continue stirring it. So now that the cornstarch has kind of settled into the soup, we're pretty much almost done here. The last thing you want to do is you want to taste it first and see if you need to add just a little bit more salt to add a bit more flavor to it. So I already tasted it. I think I could use a little bit more salt. And we're just going to stir it one more time. And this is pretty much it. Fish Maw Soup. And now the Fish Maw Soup is ready for serving.